Good morning, my viewers. This is your regular host, Valentine. Today, we'll be looking at area and perimeter of simple shapes. I repeat, we'll be looking at area and perimeter of simple shapes. The first one is we need to understand the meaning of area. For you to appreciate and be able to solve questions on area and perimeter, we need to really understand what an area is and what a perimeter is. First of all, we look at area. We say area is the total amount of space inside the shape. I repeat, area has to do with the amount of space inside a particular shape. Just like this region I'm painting now, this is the area. And remember, the name of the shape is a rectangle. So this is the total amount of space inside this rectangular shape. While we talk about perimeter, we say perimeter is the total distance around the shape. Perimeter is the total distance around the shape. I repeat, perimeter is the total distance around the shape. And while solving the area of any simple shape, we need to be conscious of the unit of measurement. You can see the unit of measurement is written as this. This is millimeter square, centimeter square, meter square, or kilometer square. As you can see, this is it. One thing is to pronounce and one thing is to write it symbolically. So symbolically, while solving your answers, please, I will encourage my viewers or learners to be conscious of the unit of measurement. You can see this is the unit of measurement. This is millimeter square, centimeter square, meter square, kilometer square. And when it comes to area of a rectangle, the formula is length times width. I repeat, the formula for an area is length times width. While when you are talking about perimeter, perimeter as mentioned earlier is the total distance around the shape. And while solving, please you can see in a perimeter, you don't need the square symbol. You don't need to write the square symbol. So you just continue with what you are given as your unit of measurement. Please, I want my learners and viewers to note the difference. So let's move on to the next slide, then we'll look at some examples. So now, this is a rectangle. In exam situations, one of the properties of a rectangle is opposite sides are the same or equal. So for instance, if here is 4, definitely here will be 4. And if here is 5, definitely this other side will be 5. Remember, nobody will tell you that. It is expected that you should know that one of the properties, there are so many properties of a rectangle, but one of the properties, the most common one, is that opposite sides are the same. Opposite sides are the same. So for instance, the question says find the area and perimeter of the rectangle. Remember, for area, first of all, we are talking about the total amount of space inside this rectangle, and the formula is length times width. I know some learners might be fixated at which is the length, which is the width. Note that this is the length and why this is the width. length times width, which is 5 over 4. And for a situation where you are in exam situations, so I don't want you to get fixated. So it doesn't matter which comes first. I'm saying if you're in an exam situation, it doesn't matter which comes first because 5 times 4 is the same thing as 4 times 5. As long as you get the answer correctly, you are good to go. So this is 20 meter square. So I repeat, in an exam situation, please don't be too fixated. It's understanding that exam comes with so many feelings. So if you find yourselves in any formal exams and you are stuck, just write what comes to your mind, but just know length times width. The formula for an area is length as width. It doesn't matter which convert, whether 4 times 5 or 5 times 4, they're virtually the same thing. And at the end of the day, as long as your answer is correct, and please be conscious of the unit of measurement. Be conscious of your unit of measurement. You can see this answer is 20 meters square. That is for the area. Now, if you are talking about perimeter, so perimeter is simple, yeah, simple way of doing that. Just remember that the perimeter talks about the total distance around the shape. Total distance around the shape. I know there are so many formula out there. There are so many formula out there, so many formula that's different, different textbooks shows, but for simplicity's sake, please just note that once you talk about area, it's talking about the total distance around the shape. So, and remember, this is a rectangle. And one of the properties of the rectangle is opposite sides are equal, as mentioned earlier. So with this, you can figure it out. And remember, please be conscious of your unit of measurement. So this is 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 5. The answer is 18 meter. You can see for area, you have 20 meters square. But for perimeter, this is 18 meter. Then we look at this. Remember, this is a square. And one of the properties of a square is that all sides of the square are equal. All sides of a square are equal. As usual, if you're asked to find the area of a square, just pick one of the sides and multiply by itself. There are so many formulas out there according to so many textbooks. Some textbook may say L squared, W squared. Some will say A squared. It doesn't matter. But for simplicity's sake, just take one of the sides and multiply by itself to get this. And remember your unit of measurement. And in an exam, if you are given one of the sides, remember one of the properties of a square is all sides are equal. All sides are equal. So if here is 4, here will be 4, here will be 4, and here will be 4. So what you just need to do when it comes to perimeter, you add all the sides together to get 16. And please be conscious of the unit of measurement. This, as I've mentioned earlier, 1 mark can be, the loss of 1 mark can be devastating. Please, I will encourage you to please pay attention to details as we prepare ourselves to go in for formal exams in 3 months' time. So please be conscious of the unit of measurements. Be conscious of it. So let's move on to the next slide and see if there are some practical examples or classwork we'll be able to solve together. This is area formula. So these are some common areas for different shapes. So the area of a rectangle is length times width. The area of a parallelogram is base times height. Yeah, there's something I need to point out. Please, once you find shapes like this, it's not a must that the height will be inside the shape. As examination awarding body, they are good at confusing learners. So it's possible the heights might be written outside. So whichever way, please be conscious of that. It's not, I repeat, it's not a must that the height must be inside the shape. Most times they bring it outside the end. So the height can still be written outside. Likewise, this the height can still be written outside. Please take notes, my learners. It's not a must that the height will always be inside the shape. Please learn to pay attention to details. So this area of a rectangle is length times width. Area of a parallelogram is base times height. Base times height. Then we look at the triangle. It says half base times height. Half base times height, which height is the vertical height. We are talking about the vertical height here. Or better still, you can say base times height divided by 2. So these and this, they are virtually the same thing. Then we look at the trapezium. Area of a trapezium talks about half, then the sum of the two parallel sides that times the vertical height. So which is half A plus B times height. Okay. So that's the sum of the two parallel sides times height, then times height, then you half it. So these are some common formulas or formulae for area of different shapes like the rectangle, parallelogram, triangle, and trapezium. So there are many out there, so I will encourage my learners to still widen their scope of research and study so that they can have a better chance of getting good outcome or grades in the exams. Yeah, these are some typical examples. So I would like my learners to go through this and digest this, reflect on this. And as mentioned earlier, please be conscious of the formula. You know, this is a triangle, and the formula for a triangle is half base times height. While this is a trapezium, you can see, as mentioned earlier, this time around the height is written outside here. And please, the shapes can be positioned in any words as long as you can remember the formula. You are more than half percent okay. So once you can remember which formula belongs to which to a particular shape, you are more than 50% okay. So memorizing or remembering the formula is the key thing here. And please, when solving, be conscious of your unit of measurements. This attracts marks too, your unit of measurement. And when solving, please learn, if possible, please state your step-by-step solution. State your step-by-step solution. All these attract marks. Remember, this is a quick revision guide to help you in your personal studies or group studies. So let's move on to the next slide. So let's look at these questions. Let's look at this. We'll look at this. Probably I will look at question. Let's look at question 7 and question 12. So we'll encourage our learners or viewers to attempt question 8 and then move on to the answer slide to cross-check, and please kindly do that honestly. So let's look at this question. Say a square has an area of this. Find the perimeter of the square. So what this question is trying to tell us is, remember, this is a square. And we said in the previous slides that the area of a square, we can use anything at all. So we can say, for instance, the area of a square is the length raised to the power of 2, meaning just take one of the sides and multiply it by itself. So, but the question is, we are not given one of the sides, but all we know is that we'll be given the area to be 64. So, simply put, there's a particular number which has been multiplied by itself that gave us 64. So to do this, we say L squared is equal to 64. So we need to take square root to both sides. Take square root to both sides. So at the end of the day, this is L squared, and this is the square root of 64. So our length is the square root of 64 is 8. So we assume one of the sides is 8. And remember, we are asked to find the perimeter of the square. So if here is 8, definitely here will be 8. And remember, all sides of a square are all the same. So this is 8 and this is 8. And we are asked to find the perimeter. So to find the perimeter will be 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. So 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. So 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 8 is 24. 24 plus 8 is 32. So the perimeter of the square is 32 centimeter. 32 centimeter. Then let's look at the next question number 12. Once we've completed this, we'll go to the answer slide and cross-check and do that honestly. So the question says the diagram shows a trapezium with an area of this and a perpendicular height this. So find the value of h. Remember, our first point of call is to remember the area of a trapezium. So the area of a trapezium is half a plus b, which is the addition of the perpendicular or parallel sides, which is the addition of the parallel side times h. And we are told that the area is this. So this is the formula. This is the formula for area of a trapezium. And we are told that it's equal to 30. So let's replace the alphabets with the numbers. So that's 3 plus 7. We don't know the value of h, equal to 30. So 3 plus 7 is 10 times h, 10h times 1. So that's 10h divided by 2 equal to 30. So 10h divided by 2 is the same thing as 5h, 2 here 1, 2 in 10 is 5. So we have 5h is equal to 30. So we need to find the value of h. To find the value of h is to divide both sides by 5. So our h is equal to 30 divided by 5, which is 6 centimeter. Remember, once you finish solving and there's still time, you can always cross-check your answer if you are doing the right thing. So imagine we replace the 6 here to be h. So 3 plus 7 is 10. 10 times 6 is 60. So the half of 60 is 30. So we are correct. Then the h, the height is 6 centimeter. So I encourage my learners to go through this complete question 8 and 10. This will help you. This will help you check your progress, and you move on to the next slide to cross check your answers, and you do that honestly. You can see we are correct here and we are correct here. So let's move on. Yeah, there are other sides to area and perimeter of simple shapes. So what this is trying to tell us is there's every possibility that more than two simple shapes can be combined together, and you are asked to either find the area or you find the perimeter. So it depends on the question, and the question depends the on the manipulation you need to undertake. So for instance, if you are asked to find the area of the shapes, so what they're trying to say is it's always good you divide the shapes. You can divide the shape, you find the area of the rectangle, find the area of the triangle, then you add them both. So it just depends. The question determines what you need to do. So I will encourage my viewers or learners to please look at the slides very well before we move on to the next one. Yeah, this is a worked example. So there is every possibility that you'll be given a complex shape. We call this a complex shape or a composite shape. So this is a combination of shapes, and you may be asked to either find the area or the perimeter. So I will encourage my learners to look at this page, read it, digest it, and meditate on it. Then we'll move on with this. After looking at this, can now move on to the next slide to have to do some class exercises. So let's look at this. Let's look at some complex questions. So we'll look at question number 4, and let's look at question number 1. So let's start with this. The answer says calculate the area of the shape. Calculate the area of the shape. So it doesn't matter which slide, which particular way you want to divide this. It doesn't matter. So let's look at this. So as you can see, this is a combination of two shapes. So for simplicity's sake, let's divide ours here. So if you like, you can name this A and B if you like. So let's look at what we need to do here. Remember, this is a rectangle, though not perfect one, not to scale. So what they are trying to say is the shape is not a perfect one. So if this, remember, one of the properties of a rectangle is opposite sides are equal. Remember, from here, from this point to this point is 8 centimeter, and we have told that from this point to this point is 3 meters. So here it becomes 3. So we need to get from this point to this point. To get that, we need to take 3 away from 8. So from this point to this point is 5. So let's look at our area A. Now remember, the question is talking about area of the shape. So let's imagine you are bringing this out. So your area A will be length times width. So that is 9 times 5. So that will be 45. 45. Then we look at B is 3 times 3 give us 9. So 45 plus 9 should be, this 5 plus 9 is 4, carry 1. So 4 plus 0 is 0 plus 1, 5. So this is 54 centimeter square. So please be conscious. We are lucky that the unit of measurement has been written down for us here. So please let's be conscious of the unit of measurement. Then we look at the next one, question number 4. It said the area of the compound shape is this. Work out the size of x. The area of the compound shape is this. Work out the size of x. So to solve this as usual, so let's divide this. So this can be A and B. So let's look at that, means we need to multiply by this and multiply by this. So the area of the compound shape is this already. So what they are trying to say in essence is our area is this times this, so that will be 7 times 10. Remember, we need to add them both, so we'll add plus 4 times x. Luckily, we'll be given the area. So what they are trying to say is they must have multiplied these two shapes combined together that gave us, they must have gotten the area of these two shapes that gave us the area sum of 106 centimeters square. As such, we are told to find one of the sides here, which is x. So we are trying to form an equation. That's why I love maths. Some aspect may lead to another aspect. So luckily this is 40, sorry, 7 times 10 is 70 plus this 4x, because 4 times x is 4x is equal to 106. Okay, see, from area of a shape has led us to algebraic manipulation. So we need to find the value of x. To do that, you bring out the 4x, then you collect your like times, say 106. Remember I said in our previous session that there's an invisible sign in front of 70, which is positive. So if it crosses the equality sign, it changes. positive crosses the equality sign, it changes to negative 70. So our 4x is 106 minus 70. That will be 36. 106 minus 70 will be 36. So we need to find the value of x. To get that, we need to divide both sides by 4. So our x is equal to 36 divided by 4. Our x is equal to 9. So as mentioned earlier, you can always cross-check if you are correct. So imagine you put this 9, you place the 9 with the x. So that will be 4 times 9 is 36. 36 plus 70 will definitely give us 106. So once you've done that, please, I will encourage my learners to move on to the answer slide. Cross-check your answers and please do that honestly. Remember, for you to stand a better chance to get good grades, you need to keep practicing. You need to attend lessons. You need to keep practicing. And I've taken another further step to create this video, though there are so many videos out there. So this is just a quick guide. This is a quick revision guide to encourage my learners and other viewers to deepen their knowledge of any particular topic in maths. So once you've done that, you can now move on to the next slide. You can now move on to the next slide to cross-check your answer. Yes, that reminds me, most times the examination awarding bodies, they may not use this particular words, area or perimeter. That reminds me, they may decide not to use that. They might decide to use words that suggest either area or perimeter. So you need to be careful. You need to be conscious. So for instance, if we are talking about area, so they might use words that suggest, remember, we are talking area. Area means the total amount of space inside the shape. So they might use words like cover. So once you see this word cover or any other words that suggest anything that has to do with inside the shape, but most often they use this word cover. Cover means has to do with anything that has to do with inside the shape. For instance, you can say John rented a new apartment. He needs to get um he needs to get some carpet to cover the living room. So once you hear the word cover, it's suggesting that you should find the area of the living room. Then once we talk about perimeter, you might hear or you might see words like around the edges. So you might see word like around the edges, around the edges, around the edges, or around the corners, or around the corners, around the edges, or suggestive words that will main perimeter. Please, my learners, look out for that word. Fine. If they use the exact word area or perimeter, you are good to go. But if you don't see that exact word area and perimeter, please look out for those words that suggest either area or perimeter. With this, you are more than 50% okay and good to go and to get the desired grade. So we'll come to an end of the session. Thank you very much. Keep practicing, keep studying hard. The exam is just 3 months ahead of time. Please keep practicing. If you have any questions, you can drop it in on my comment section and I will be glad to help. Thank you very much and thank you. This is your regular host, Valentine. Goodbye and see you in the next session. Bye. Bye.